Hey, St. Catharines, Mayor Matt Siscoe here. Welcome back to another episode of talkSTC. A very exciting episode. We are on the road this week for the first segment. So this is my office. Welcome to City Hall and the Mayor's office. I'm looking forward. My first interview today is going to be with Emily Kovacs from the Folk Arts Center. And then a second segment, we'll be back in studio and I'll be chatting with my good friend Matty Hill from Niagara Youth Flag Football. So, it's that time of year, and for those of you in the community who remember these sorts of things and love getting out to check out all that the community has to offer, you know that the Folk Arts Festival is getting started. And so for that reason today, we've brought in Emily Kovacs from the Folk Arts Center. Emily, thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, you are the CEO at Niagara Folk Arts Multicultural Center, graduate of Brock University, is that correct?
That's correct.
So your academic work focused on the motivation and achievement levels of immigrants. How does one pick that as their focus when they're in school?
Great question. As an immigrant myself, I was 16 when I came to Canada, and I wanted to answer the quintessential question, which is, are we extrinsically motivated or are we intrinsically motivated as a people? But I specifically focused on newcomers because I know newcomers.
That's fantastic. And as a teacher, that's a question I have all the time, is the intrinsic versus the extrinsic motivation. So I get that. Now, you're a former heritage language teacher. You had a distinguished career working with Toronto's homeless sector for 19 years in various positions, including involvement in the building of 22 large-scale shelter development projects. So you have some understanding of the challenges that the community is facing right now here in Niagara.
Absolutely. And, very happy to lend that knowledge to anybody and everyone who's listening. And I find a lot of similarities between newcomers and those without homes, because the root of the problems is displacement. People without homes are also displaced somewhat, just like people who are immigrants or newcomers to Canada, they have been displaced. So there's a lot of similarity in terms of the transferable skills that we can, There's a lot of similarity between newcomers and those without homes, and there's transferable skills that we can bring from one population to the next.
And that seems like two groups where there would be a lot that understanding about one will help you a lot with dealing with the other. So I can understand that. Now, you've been at the Niagara Folk Arts Multicultural Center since 2018. May is a pretty exciting month over at the Folk Arts Center, am I right?
It absolutely is. I started in August of 2018. So we had two really good festivals, and then of course COVID started and everything was shut down. But starting May 23rd all the way to the end of May, there's a lot of fun things that are happening, all things related to the Folk Arts Festival, which is, by the way, the longest continuously running heritage festival in Canada, 55 years and counting.
Yes, I appreciate the work that you and your predecessor, Jeff Birch, do in reminding the community. 55 years, the longest continuously running in Canada. I've heard that many times. A lot of different clubs participate in this. Could you give us an inkling about some of the clubs that we're going to see out there for the festival this year? Absolutely.
So there are about 14 clubs altogether, running 17 open houses, starting on May the 4th all the way to May 28th. We have a brand new club that we're really excited about. It's the Canadian Ethio Association. So that's Ethiopian Canadians who are putting together an association. Their open house will be on May 20th from 12 to 5. You'll definitely find me there. There's our usual 14 other organizations. Some of them are, Club Heidelberg, Club La Salle, Sophie Fran, the Greek community, and all of the open houses and all of the events that will be happening is on our website at folkarts.ca/festival. I think Sophie Fran is happening also on May the 20th from 5 to 9 p.m. So lots of overarching themes of amazing food, amazing culture, music, and lots of fun activities for everyone.
You and I may have danced at Sofa Fran last year.
Yes,
we have. I remember that happening.
Yes, we have.
I will say, and I have to give a shout out to my friends at the Armenian Community Center, I'm not going to say I have a favorite because I don't have a favorite. I love going out to the folk arts open houses, but the Armenian Hall, the food is always wonderful. But that's not to say the food is wonderful everywhere.
It absolutely is. And we have, this time or this year, we're going to have our Ambassador Open House, which is the kickoff where all the ambassadors are going to meet. That's going to happen at Club Roma in the Garden Pavilion on May the 4th. The open house is on May the 5th at 6 p.m. And it will have a glamorous ambassador ball. We're going to be presenting every ambassador who missed out on the events from 2020 onwards. So you'll see a lot of individuals dressed in their traditional clothes.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, look forward to that. And there will be amazing art and of course amazing food from Club Roma as well. And a few artists that we are displaying this year will be, there will be some Irish music, there will be Franco-Canadian folk music, as well as, believe it or not, even a acrobatic circus presentation.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that sounds to me like you're doing a lot this year to sort of welcome everybody back. That sounds impressive. So I will say, from a personal perspective, and many people in the community know this, my oldest son is Ethiopian. I was very excited, and I believe there was a little bit of media last year talking about the Ethiopian group trying to get their organization off the ground. What's it been like working with them over the last year as they sort of take those steps to become a bigger club in the community?
Well, it's been an absolute blast. They're very dedicated. They have been a large influx of Ethiopian Canadians to Niagara, which is wonderful to see. There are 2 professors from Brock University who started the club, and they know exactly what they want to do. They knew how to incorporate as an association, and they have shown again and again that they're ready to do this and ready to open their doors to show their culture. So absolutely thrilled that they're going to be with us. They are going to be performing as well throughout our own open house, which happens on May the 4th. They will be, we are going to do our utmost best to highlight them first and foremost because they're newest.
So I will say one of the things that I've always really enjoyed about the Folk Arts Festival, and I've been lucky enough to be on council for, I guess, 13 years now, Folk Arts Festival is never afraid to try something new. I know we've had, things that have gone on at Montebello Park. There have been events in the downtown, artistic displays. Now, this year I noticed something, Art We Surprised is happening again. Can you explain what Art We Surprised exactly is?
Yes, once again, we have partnered with the City of St. Catharines. Thank you for the funding. So this is a artistic display. The Niagara Folk Arts Multicultural Center has a sustainability pillar as part of our strategic plan, and we want to reduce our carbon footing. And one of the ways that we are doing is through this artistic pop-up display. So we are going to be giving out garbage cans. So the city owned and operated garbage cans that you see across the city. We'll be giving them out to artists. They're going to be painting them as their canvases, and then they're going to be displayed at Port Dalhousie and various parts of St. Catharines so that the public can enjoy a more artistic display of garbage cans. So this is all of the artwork, all of the materials, all sustainable, and they're hopefully are going to be here for generations to come, and a little bit more pleasant to see whenever you go into a park.
And I think most people appreciate something pleasant to look at when they're in the park as opposed to the utilitarian big blue barrel that sits there and gets filled. It's one of the things that I've always said, I think the Folk Arts Festival has always done a good job of not just dealing with the folk art community, but tying in other social issues, tying in other groups. Sustainability has always been a major piece of the festival. So it's great to see that that's continuing. Now, the Multicultural Center is also having its own open house this year.
We're going to have it on May 10th at 10 a.m.
Okay, perfect. And when you do a folk arts open house versus the other ethnocultural groups, how does it differ? What's yours look like compared to everybody else's? Because you've got a lot more cultures that you can draw on when you're doing it.
Absolutely. What we're trying to do is a little bit more of an inclusive open house in nature. We have, on any given time, 200 students in our center, plus a number of other satellite locations all across Niagara. And we're inviting all of our students and our newcomers to come and take part of these celebrations. So this year, we're going to have, normally it's a classic favorite, which is our inclusive culture and fashion show. So it's our students who are going to bring their ethnic clothing. So you're going to see a variety of ethnic clothing displayed, and they're going to do a cultural display of that. We're also going to have a celebrity basketball dunk. So you're welcome to come and join us. It will be...
I'm just coming to watch, right? You're not going to expect me to try and dunk a basketball, are you?
You might.
Okay, so we're not talking about 10-foot nets. We're going to lower them for some of us who maybe don't have the physical ability to get up high anymore.
We'll work with you.
Okay,
We're trying to be very inclusive. We're going to have also a North Indian folk dancer who's going to perform at 11 a.m. And then our final basketball throw will happen at noon.
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, so that sounds like a good day, and I'm going to have to make sure that one's in the calendar for myself. So it's a busy couple of weeks. And this is something I've always found kind of interesting. I love the Folk Arts Festival, but I know that the Folk Arts Multicultural Center does a lot of work, and the festival is very much, it's a showcase and an opportunity to sort of show off the cultural communities we have. But your organization does all kinds of things. Do you want to expand a little bit? Because I sometimes think members of the community don't always realize how important a role the Folk Arts Multicultural Center actually plays in our community.
Absolutely, and on May the 10th, when we have our own open house, we're not just going to have the cultural performances, we're actually going to do an open house showcasing all of our services. Again, I always say that we sort of have this split personality. People either know us because of the festival, or they know us because of the good work of working with newcomers, but not for both. So we're marrying the two concepts. Each time we're having the festival, we talk about our services, and each time we talk about the services, we're also talking about the festival. We have 92 staff. We have 3 satellite locations in St. Catharines, as well as Niagara and Welland and Niagara Falls. We also have, our budget is about $5.8 million, and we are a holistic service provider for newcomers, immigrants, refugees, and asylum seekers.
That's fantastic. I know I've had the opportunity over the course of the last 6 months as mayor, but before that, talking with members of different ethnocultural communities, and the good work that your organization does is so important. You know, when we have influxes of asylum seekers and refugee claimants and people who are, you know, facing really difficult situations wherever they may be from, I know your organization, like many others across the country, steps in to try and help fill the void and provide that stability they're looking for. We've heard a lot about, in the media, we've heard a lot about, you know, what's going on in Niagara Falls. A lot of asylum seekers have been moved there by the Canadian government. I know your organization isn't the lead agency, but what sort of a role do you play in situations like this?
So we are absolutely supporting our partner agency, which is Welland Heritage Council, under the leadership of Janet Madume. We have done initiatives like we partnered with United Way, and we provided fresh food boxes to all the asylum seekers. We've done that in a number of sequences throughout since last July. That initiative has now ended, and we're looking for more fresh food ideas to bring to folks, because another pillar for our organization is to work with the social determinants of health, and nutrition being one of them. We have also done target events like Turkish information sessions for all of the Turkish newcomers or the asylum seekers who were there. And we have been working with referrals and information, and we'll be working in a capacity to provide mental health supports very shortly. We've been told that we're going to receive some funding to be able to provide that, and we're very happy to contribute to do that, because I know that staying in a hotel for many, many months has a huge impact on individuals' mental health.
For sure. Emily, thank you so much for coming in. Now, one last time, what's the website? folkarts.ca/festival. People can get more information. Thank you so much for coming in. It is sincerely appreciated. I can't wait to see you out.
Thank you.
Coming up next, we will be back in studio and we'll be chatting with Maddie Hill from Niagara Youth Flag Football. I'm really enjoying, as we get through the spring, getting out for longer walks with the dog down by 12 Mile Creek. I hope you are taking the opportunity to enjoy yourself, get out into the outside, reemerge after the long hibernation of what was a pretty long and snowy winter, and enjoying all the good stuff that our community has to offer. A good friend of mine, a guy I've known for a long time, Maddie Hill. Welcome, Maddie.
Thank you for having me. Honored to be here.
Excellent. Maddie, as the brains, the brawn, everything behind Niagara Youth Flag Football. So I've had the opportunity of being involved with Niagara Youth Flag Football for a couple of years. I like to say I got in right on the ground floor, and it's been exciting to watch the trajectory. But before we get into the organization, a little bit of a bio. You played co-ed flag football. You've been doing that since
10 years old, I would say.
10 years old.
Yeah,
So long time. You've won a world championship.
Yeah.
You've won 3 national championships. 5 provincial championships. Did I miss anything?
I think you got him. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And you brought flag football, so help me out. How long ago was it that you started the league?
So we were about 4 or 5 years ago. I always get mixed up. I was in Niagara. I was coaching at Canada Prep Tackle Academy, and being new to Niagara, I'm like, where's flag football? Like, how isn't this a thing? In Hamilton, there's 3 or 4 leagues. 2,000 to 3,000 kids throughout the city. So dislocated my shoulder playing touch football and woke up one day and said, what am I going to do with my free time? And we got to get flag football going. So we threw it out there. We're lucky to have coaches like you step up year one, 4 or 5 years ago with about 60 kids. And we kind of went from there.
I enjoy the story, the origin story. I always like to tell people how I got involved. So I was thinking, my kids were getting to that age where they want to get into football, but like a lot of parents, I don't know whether I necessarily want them in the tackle space yet, because they were only 8, 9, 10 years old. Yeah. And a friend suggested, there's flag football leagues in other places, you should look at starting one. And so I think I did the thing, you go into Google flag football in Niagara, nothing popped up, and then I guess Facebook saw what I was doing because they put a post in front of me that you had thrown out right around the same time, seeing if there was interest in the community. And you and I connected, and I like to tell people I was a part of the first coaching clinic.
You sure were.
You, me, and Coach Hurdy up in Thorold. But that was a fun first year. I'll let you tell the story of how we did when we went to Hamilton for our final tournament.
That was super cool. So that was the more exciting part for me. Let's go compete. Like, I love the ground level of coaching and development in league, but let's go see what else is out there. And we took 3 teams to Hamilton in our final day tournament. Your team and our other Niagara team met in the finals. In
the younger age group.
The younger age group. And I think almost mostly every Niagara team won in Hamilton against some very seasoned and experienced teams. And I thought that was pretty cool, and a tribute to the coaches and kids we had that early on were now to this day in high school and our top travel players, but I thought it was pretty cool to see how it started. So
I like to tell people we went up to Hamilton, we ran the table, we had both spots in one final, and you won a championship with the older age group with our kids, and I don't think we ever got invited back to that Hamilton tournament. So 4 years, you started with 60 kids. Where are you at now?
So we're at about plus 700. That's coming up to our big spring season starting the end of April. We had to cap it. One thing I've said from the beginning, I don't ever want to compromise quality. I don't want to be reaching out to anyone to coach. We're very picky on our coaches and the people we bring in, and training them and getting them ready, because at the end of the day we want the kids having a good experience. I don't want to be disorganized. I don't want 700 people coming to Friday Night Lights and who's coaching, who's doing what. So we did cap it. We kind of felt like we were getting stretched at coaching. We've been training our officials. We got about 16 officials ready to go this year. That's super exciting. So that's where we're at now, 700. I mean, that's not counting the high school. We probably got about 150 interchangeable at high school, more so tournament based, not really a season. We've hosted a couple. We take them to others. So creeping upwards of that uncomfortable number that I said I never wanted of 1,000 kids. It's coming, but we're planning to how are we going to get there comfortably and again not drop the quality. So
well, and I think you've done a good job of appealing throughout Niagara. I mean, a lot of times when you get into a sports league in Niagara, you're probably localized in your city center. So you're in a St. Catharines league, you're in a Welland league, you're in a Niagara Falls league. You've done a really good job of making this a Niagara league. You're playing, the spring league is out of the Young Sportsplex in Welland, but the championship day is at still
West Park.
Still West Park in St. Catharines. And I mean, I know some of the folks, the deep volunteers, the ones who are really putting in the time, they're from the Falls. And How has that been? Have you found that you're drawing from everywhere for the league?
We really are drawing from other region, and there's been discussions about, do we run in Niagara Falls one night and St. Catharines one night and Welland one night, and then when you start doing that, I think you lose what we have. There's so many core people, like it's like our family, and they all say, well, it doesn't matter where you are, we're coming. So, Young Sportsplex has been a unique situation where they can accommodate us. We coming into these Friday nights, we'll have 3 full turf fields, which translate into 12 football fields. Yeah. So we will have 12 fields essentially running every hour for 4 hours. So that's kind of been a cozy home. West Park gives us that sense of security. There's multiple fields there. Grass is a little more challenging than the turf. These kids are getting really cozy with the turf and how nice it is. So that's been an ongoing challenge, but being somewhere where we can fit everyone in. People are driving wherever we are. It's not really an issue where we are. As Niagara region's a big place, but they seem to keep coming from wherever. So we're going to just kind of stay with that model and keep bringing them all to one spot.
Fantastic. So the league, it runs across age groups. Tell me a little bit, ages, like male, female, what's the mix look like?
Yeah, so this has been this year, so we start, our youngest age we have is 4 and 5 year olds. So we start at that age and we go all the way up for our house leagues to about 15, 16 year olds. A big push this year has been girls. We've been really pushing the girls side of things. What we're trying, I think this year we got about 150 girls, which is incredible. I mean, I think year one there was 5 girls, and then, so that's been a big push. Friday nights we really want to focus, though, that's house league. We have a lot going on the travel side of things, but it's house league, it's fair play, and we drive that home into our coaches that that's what it's all about. So yeah, it's been an even split. I would say we're getting more and more at a younger age, and then we're seeing more and more at an older age. We had some of our high school kids that they play tackle in the fall time, and they're just playing flag in the summer. And some high-level football players that are, being recruited and going on to university. So that's been a unique shift as far as like high school kids now really becoming invested in it.
Well, and that was going to be my next question. Is like I've seen the growth of a couple of kids, that have maybe started in the league, then turned into referees, and like they're going off and playing quarterback at Canadian CIS programs. So talk a little bit about that. What's it been like to see the development of kids as they cycle through football and make it as big a part of their life as you and I have made football a part of our lives?
Yeah, and I love that question because, like you, we see the bigger picture of football, right? And its development, and we're creating young men and women and trying to coach them into being good people and succeed in life, not just on the football field. Unique relationship with some of these high school kids. Some of them actually played on my men's team last summer. 16, 17-year-old kids playing men's AA ball, touch football with the best players in Canada, and they didn't miss a beat. And that's been really cool. Recently, Tyler Goforth, a quarterback from Meyer, going on to university, very successful. Arden Martinez, a couple that come to name. Evan Goforth, Quinn Johnson, Brady Pupik coming up, some of these very talented kids. And it's been a great relationship on the field, off the field, reffing in the league, coaching in the league. And you're seeing it, like some of the best players. We actually just hosted a tune-up 7-on-7 touch tournament, and senior was won by the Niagara team with teams from all over the province. And junior, the juniors lost a heartbreaker to the Essex Ravens in the finals. And it's pretty cool to see, and they're playing these high-level tackle programs, but they're coming down in the touch capacity, and they're just competing at the highest level. So it's really cool to see those skills translate. And you and I know, we've talked about this before, is tackle at high school, there's a place for it. Absolutely. Whether you're playing high school, summer, fall, winter, it doesn't matter. But let's not lose sight of these skills that they need to keep working on and refining and, throwing and catching and covering and all those things.
So I'm going to come back to that because I love it, but very quickly, shout out to my guy, Quinn Johnson. You mentioned him, starting quarterback for the Sir Winston Churchill Bulldogs. And my co-coach a couple of years ago, we had the opportunity to coach one of my kids' teams, and a fantastic young man, and I'm excited to see where he goes.
Yes.
But you said it with the skill development, and this is, I've encouraged a lot of kids who I knew were going to go and play high school tackle football, but they knew that they had some skill areas that they needed to prove on. Yeah. Guys who, thought they might be tight ends. Okay, well, let's come to the league and learn how to catch. Yeah. So that development is huge. Yeah. And I keep trying to explain, it's an opportunity for that development that'll carry over onto the tackle field. Yeah. You just need to give it a chance. And I think a lot of people are starting to come around to that. Yeah. One of the things that I noticed when we were up in Hamilton that first year was the number of high schools that had put in teams into the older divisions, and they were basically just running their regular tackle offense, but they're running it through in a way that they're able to get better playing flag. Yeah. It's going to translate onto the tackle field. Yeah. So How are you expanding the program? You and I have had a brief conversation about this today. I'm curious, what's next?
So really our year-round plan right now is we run our NFL flag spring summer season. So that's with partnered with the NFL flag. That's kind of going to be the spring summer plan. Short 6-week supposed to be break. We're now launching our first day camp. We're going to do a half-day sports camp. It's going to be led by some of my favorite coaches, Coach Cliff Ivory, longtime pro, Coach Hurdy, a former U.S. Marine, can't say enough good things about him, and Coach Erin Clark, who's a teacher with DM and just an incredible woman. They all know how to, they're so good. I can't say enough good things. And raising young boys and girls, they're going to take the lead on the camp. Of course, I work full time, so getting a week to do that will be tricky, but we're going to have them. And it's a full circle thing. Our high school referees, that are paid, now they got summer camp jobs, right? It's just the cool thing about this whole league evolving is it's just creating opportunities for good people. And now it's a safe place for kids to come to a camp and have fun and be themselves. So there's going to be some summer camps. We do have some expansion plans, probably not this summer, next summer, where we'll be running 2, 3, 4, 5 summer camps. Maybe we'll be bugging you. I'm sure you got free time to hop in and run a day camp. And then from there, we go back, we take a break, and then we get into our summer-fall season, which I think will go back to like our Niagara Youth Flag football jerseys. They're a little more cost-effective. The NFL kits are expensive, so then we can drop our cost again for our summer-fall season. There will be some winter training, and as you know, with your son X, we've got year-round travel now, where we are going to Philadelphia, Ohio. Where else we go? All over.
Well, this is provincials, the whole 9 yards. So on that, the travel program, talk a little bit about, I know you guys had massive success last year.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that, and the girls program especially.
Yeah.
I follow a lot of the parents on Instagram, and I saw a lot of happy highlights from a lot of different tournaments. How was the last season of travel?
I think the highlights for me were, so last summer our grade 10 boys were at the Canadian Nationals representing the province, Team Ontario. Very strong team, mostly out of A.N. players, and very good players. I coach that team alongside my brother. And a lot of good things. We lost a heartbreaker in the finals to Quebec. But that same weekend, our girls team was actually in Philadelphia in the biggest all-girls flag football tournament in North America. These girls got fed to the wolves. I mean, they were playing the best teams in America. And our girls got eliminated, I believe it was in the quarterfinals, to the number 1 ranked team in America, who went on to win the tournament. And if I'm correct, they lost like 14-7. That's when we were like, wow, now, these girls are special. There's some very high-end girls they've been playing with us for a long time. That was kind of the highlight that wrapped up the season. We're in PEI at Nationals, texting and FaceTiming our coaches in Philly. How's going on here? And, both just did incredible jobs. And then we kind of came home from that and we're like, all right, we got to revamp our travel program. We know there's more talent in the league. We're getting kids coming from Hamilton and Toronto now, which is pretty unique to our Niagara Nitro travel program, because we know we're just trying to get them the best opportunities. Wherever we go, we want to play the best teams. We want to see the best competition and give them as much opportunity as we can. So now we've shifted into this season where we have 10 travel teams, 4 all-girls teams, 6 all-boys teams, and at any given day we'll throw a co-ed team and put the girls on our boys team because there's a lot of them that, as you know, are good enough. So.
Oh, I love it. So we'll finish up. If people are interested, they either want to look at getting their kids involved or they're interested in coming out and volunteering. We just got through Volunteer Week a couple weeks ago. Where are they headed?
So come to our website or Facebook, Instagram, NiagaraYouthFlagFootball.com. Also, same thing on Instagram or Facebook. My name's Matty Hill. You can get access to me through that or email NiagaraYouthFlagFootball@gmail.com, and happy to reach out and whatever we can do and get more people connected.
Matty, I love it. I tell people you are one of the best people that I've had the opportunity to meet over the last couple of years. So I'll just say from the bottom of my heart, thank you for the opportunities you've given my kids and a lot of other kids in the community. This was desperately needed. You found a niche and you filled it perfectly, my friend.
I appreciate that. The feeling's mutual. I can't say enough good things about you. So thank you very much for having me and all the opportunities you've opened up for me as well.
This is the Matt Mutual Appreciation Society right here. Thank you so much, Matty Hill from the Niagara Youth Flag Football League. That's NiagaraYouthFlagFootball.com.